Welcome to the 10 Acre Woods. My name's Mark, and it's a beautiful sunny day. But of course that means without any clouds, you get a lot of heat loss, so it's generally cold at night. Last night it went down to 32 degrees Celsius. Wind chills up to 47, minus 47 I believe it was. So I checked in on the animals and they seemed very comfortable, sitting, lying down, and of course the young goats sitting on top of the pigs with that nice symbiotic relationship. So we're just heading in now, and I'm just going to go over a few things that we look at to make sure that the animals are comfortable during these cold weather periods. It's nice and warm in here. The temperature in here is, what is it, about 3 degrees above zero, so what's that, about 35 degrees Fahrenheit. And the reason why it's warm in here is because it's well insulated, and the animals give off their heat, and believe it or not, there is no heating done whatsoever in this building. Even the lights are LED, so they don't give off much heat at all. It's all done by body heat. So I do have a fan at the back of the building that does have, it's set to a certain temperature, and as soon as that temperature is reached, it shuts off. So I actually cool this building instead of heating it, and the purpose of that is to bring down the humidity. So I did tweak the fan to bring it down to probably around 2 degrees. Just above 0 degrees, just to make sure that none of the waters are freezing. The animals can handle it in lower temperatures, of course, but it's more so when we come out and spend time feeding the animals and whatnot, it's good to have a place where it's a little bit warmer, just to kind of warm up. So one thing that did happen this week is, you recall from past videos, I had a fan installed here that blew at the door, and that fan failed. So I've got another one on order, and you can see this lock. The door is locked, and it's actually iced completely over. So hopefully the door will open. What it does is it creates air movement along the door, stopping any kind of humidity from building up on there. So it's supposed to come in next week. So I will get that hooked up. And it was a certain style of fan, a more industrial 18 to 20 inch circular caged fan that worked really well there. And just because of the dust and everything in here, I guess it got into the motor assembly and just kind of wore it out. So time to get another one. So going over the water system here, this water comes from where we used to have a mobile home out here. So we had another line that ran to this area, but of course it didn't have any heat trace. The heat trace actually failed on it. So I went and I picked up this heat trace, which actually runs inside the pipe, and I pushed it down probably about 30-40 feet as far as I could. But this stays on continuously. So what I ended up doing is getting a timer here, and the timer turns on the unit for 15 minutes and shuts it off for half an hour. And that is a good amount of time to ensure that it doesn't freeze. So we've got this is our watering system for the winter time. We've got a spigot that runs, I guess it would be this other second hose that goes out to the back of the building. And then we've got this line here. This is kind of our watering station. So what we'll do is we'll take these, I think they were cranberry or raspberry jugs, and we use those, and we fill up 3 or 4 of those and head around and do our watering. So that's how we do the watering in the wintertime. Outside there's a trough with a heater in it for the larger animals. Of course, this is all of our feed area here. You can actually see the ice building up along the top ridge. So the humidity is a little bit elevated in here, so I want to try to bring that down by bringing that temperature down close to 0 degrees. Hi Lucy, how are you doing? So you can see there the water is not frozen, and it's just a lot easier. Hi. It's just a lot easier to work with water, of course, when it doesn't freeze. So that's why we keep the temperature where we do. Not necessarily for the animals, it's more for their care. But of course, it's always nice to have it a little warmer in here. And how are these guys doing? Moira, how are you doing with your new bed buddies? You've got Fernando in here. He just loves hanging out in here. He sleeps up here at night. And then, of course, Sheldon. So people have asked about Sheldon. Will he be going outside? Yes, he will be going outside when it warms up. But, of course, we're going to be watching him because he does get picked on. He is the runt. He was bottle fed, so he doesn't have the best relationship with his other siblings. But if we hadn't intervened, he would not have made it. So we have certain ones like Lucy and Sheldon that are just a little special. And they seem to be getting along, so that's great. She doesn't particularly care too much for him. But there's been a few times when he's tried to jump up on her and play. So, but as long as you've got a buddy in there, somebody to keep him company, right, Fernando? You too, you're pulling your weight. Now, of course, Bronwyn here. So we did a little bit of calculation on this. So we picked up Bronwyn, I think Tara said August 19th, somewhere in August. And she was in with a ram. So we've been watching her. Her side has been moving. We have seen some moving. She's a little agitated. But she doesn't have much longer to go before the gestation period, which is around 150, in around 150, 155 days, is up from when we actually picked her up. So she must have got pregnant right at the end, if she did get pregnant. I'm starting to wonder myself, but I've done that before. You know, I'm like, no, they're not pregnant. And sure enough, they are. So we're pretty sure she is pregnant. She's been in here all winter. Normally she would have been outside with the other animals, but even if she isn't pregnant and doesn't have a lamb, she will remain inside just because she has been inside throughout the winter, and we don't want to give her that shell shock by putting her outside. But I'm thinking she is pregnant. She has to be pregnant by what we've witnessed. So we'll keep you up. We've been seeing comments about her and has she had her lamb? No, not yet, but it should be within the next week or two. It better be. That's all I can say. Okay, so on the walls, you can actually see where it's darker where the studs are. Bronwyn is still a little bit jumpy. Of course, if you get down and have, you know, usually, well, I do that at the gate. She comes right over. Oh, you have some oats? But you're still a little shy, aren't you? You are just a herd animal. You haven't had a lot of experience with humans. Yeah, so you can see the dark pattern on the wall there. That's where the studs are. So of course it's insulated in between, so it's not as cold in between as it is right on the studs. So something known as thermal bridging. And also ice up on the corner. So I did turn this fan on, and what this fan is, it's a simple barn fan, and I picked up this selector switch. That's low, and I've got off and high. So I've been leaving it on low, which, you know, it's more consistent. And then I've taken a, this is a mercury switch. So it needs to have an air conditioning setting on it, and I've turned it to basically calibrate it because it only goes down to a setting of 10 degrees. So I want it below that. So I've wired this up with a relay that's inside here that runs off the power and triggers the 120 volts to activate the fan when that sensor is triggered. And that's worked great. So I've got a similar operation out in the other, where the ducks are, where the geese and ducks are. But what that is it's a heating. So it's your standard thermostat. that I've wired up through plugs. And then what I've done is you just plug your heat lamps into those plugs, and then it's controlled by like a baseboard type heater or thermostat. So that's how that works. Okay, so those are those guys here. Of course, chickens and guineas in here, they're all doing well. Somebody had asked about bathing. I see there's nobody in here now. About the ashes and how we use the ashes. So when they need to, they will go and they will jump in here and they'll fluff around and they'll get the ashes underneath the wings. And that's how we control the parasites. We've never had any kind of breakout in parasites for the years we've been doing this. We have had a couple chickens that have come in with parasites and we've treated them successfully. So you can also use diatomaceous earth, but I would just go with ashes. So the door there on the outside, you can see both doors are frosted. But everybody's nice and toasty warm. They've got their water in there. It looks like they're running out. We just got some more oyster shells. So Tara just picked up a bag, and that's what it's going to go into there. And that's going to make sure that they have enough calcium so that they have a good egg production. And moving into the pigeons and the peafowl here, Prince, his tail is coming in nicely. So peacocks will shed off their tail. They'll molt in the fall time, and then they'll grow their tail back for spring mating season. So his tail's not quite at full length. You'll when it's at full length, it's about 6 feet long. So he's probably about 2/3 there. He's coming along, and then he's got his girls. So one and oh, the other one's over behind the tree there in the shadow. I'm like, what's going on there? The pigeons. Excuse me. The pigeons, we are going to set some of them out free and fly around. We had done that years ago, and we'd like to continue to do that, but we don't want to put them all out because we have lost a flock in the past. But it's nice just to see them flying around, and of course they quite enjoy being out, flying like a bird free. But of course we want to make sure they're safe. All right, so I am going to, with this door, actually I got a hammer here. Let's see if we can, there we go. And get at that lock. And because we always lock this because we want to make sure that it is closed, because if they got in, then they could get right into the feed right there. And then of course we come up in the morning and find them, you know, eating way too much grain. So it's a safety, and you want to make sure that you have a secure location between your animals and your feed. Okay, guys. Hi, Marley. Carl. So, of course, Billy went away last week. Hi, Carl. Oh, you're going to rub up on me like you always do. So Billy went away last week, and he is on a farm with Nubians. I didn't actually know this, but when you breed a pygmy goat, which is what we have here, with a Nubian goat, you get what's called a kinder goat. Now, the Nubians have quite a bit of health issues. We had a Nubian cross. Her name was Velvet, and she was here about a year ago. And I'll move my tripod over here because Carl keeps hitting it. So Nubians run into quite a few health issues. So by crossing the Nubian with a more stable goat like a pygmy goat, and of course a nice size, you get small, really cute goats. And it helps out on the Nubian gene pool to make it a little bit more robust so that they don't have the health issues. So that's what's happening with that. Apparently, kinder goats were first introduced, I think the first breeding was in the 80s, 87 or 89 or something like that. But I'm sure it's happened before that. So anyway, that's the story on kinder goats. Okay, Carl, he's getting lodged in like he normally does here. Okay, so how's everybody else doing? So we've got, there's Snow and Petunia. So Petunia and her sister, which is Coco, they have been sleeping on the pigs almost every night. Last night I checked in and they were right in there. So you can see there is Petey. And they're very warm in their hay. So you want to make sure they do have a good amount of hay. The pigs will actually make this mound themselves. They'll get out and they'll move it around. So the pigs are underneath there. And Shadow, I noticed she's been kind of hanging out. I was almost expecting her to lie down too with them. She will lie down from time to time, usually in this area right here. They all have their spots. Barry likes this spot to sleep at night, where the girls over on the other side. Hannibal likes it over here. Sometimes he goes and sleeps with the other ones on the other side. Hannibal! Hanny! Hi, Hannibal. What are you doing, buddy? Hi. Oh, yes. No. So what's that on your nose? I see there's a little spot of blood on his nose. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. He has been coughing. So we just want to make sure. It doesn't look like it's actually too bad. It looks like it's just kind of a snotty booger, eh? Yeah. Now he's a pretty old boy. Carl, why do you keep on me? All right, excuse me, can I get by? Yeah, you're just gonna want to play with me. All right, I'm just gonna push you out of the way. And I'm gonna, no. And we're gonna see Tinker. Hi, Tinker. How you doing, girl? So they have a nice coat on. They've got their wool. And that will be shaved off in June. Now we wait till June. Other parts of the year, other parts of the world may do it a lot sooner. But of course, because the temperatures up here, June is usually around the time where things are pretty stable with temperature. We don't want to shave them down too much because the nights can still get pretty cool. Hi, Bobby. Okay, Carl. You know, he just always wants to play. So if you're looking for a goat, maybe start off with some females. Because the boys, well, intact boys, I should say. Because Carl's intact, and Billy here is not. So he is fixed, aren't you? And you're as just comfortable as the girls are. You're not rambunctious. Actually, he gets pushed around by Patches. So if you are looking, start out with maybe a weathered goat or some females, right? Yes. Okay. So then we have Barry's just lying down eating. Well, that's one way to do it. And Paula and Shanzy. Hi, Shanzy. Shanzy. Okay, well. What? Hi. Okay, I'm going to walk around this way because I just don't like to disturb them, especially when they're eating. Yes, I want you guys to be as comfortable as possible. Yes. Hi, Lambert. How are you doing, buddy? So Tara's been actually processing the wool the last week, anyway. Hi. Yes. So she's got some classes scheduled that we're going to do again for the processing inside. Usually that's a winter thing, just to educate and to learn. So of course there's Turbo over there. Okay, Carl, you gonna go outside? You want to go out? So this barn or shelter area has done really well. It does have openings in here, which is fine. We've closed in some of the bottom. We'll probably likely this summer close in some more of it just to make sure no wind comes through there. And we've got a little bit of finishing to do off of this top area. So, all right, here's Willow. Hi, Willow. Hi, girl. let's go out and see. You gonna come out too? No, you're not coming out? Okay, we'll go out and we'll see the pond area. So nobody's out here. So we do feed the horses and the goats out here. So they do come out during the day. Then nobody's out here today. But at night they all go inside. Oh, the water. So the water for the outside animals is this here. So it's mostly ice just because of the cold temperatures we've been having. And then this is just a float, a float heater, we'll say. Okay, a heated float. And you just put that in, and usually it's 1/2 of it. So you don't want to break up the whole thing because this kind of acts as insulation for the rest of the water. So usually it'll leave just a small area there, and then we just fill that, and they know where to get their water. So yes, a beautiful day out, but cold. So we're going to go into the bird area in the back, and we'll see how they're doing. Okay, so can you hear that? You can hear the rooster from time to time. You hear all the little chirping? So we've got a whole bunch of birds that have taken the opportunity that we've given them of an enclosed area and feed and water and all that good stuff, and they've taken that opportunity to live it out in the building. Actually, they're flying around. You can see them all flying around here. And then they've got their little holes that they go into here and there. So this door has frozen a couple times, but it's actually good today. Hi guys! Hi! How you doing? So it's actually pretty warm in here. I would say it's still below 0. Lock the door. This we've got to kind of come up with a better solution here. The door doesn't close all the way, so we've taken this bungee and put it on here. So it's actually, you know, somewhat warm. I think the lens, the lens is fogging up just a little bit. So it is warmer in here. They've got their food container here in the center. Somebody had mentioned about them being in a really small, tight space. Yes, it's good for keeping them warm, of course, keeping the water from freezing. They can handle colder temperatures. Excuse me, but of course the Muscovy ducks can't handle really anything below -10. So this is another symbiotic relationship where the geese and the chickens and the ducks are creating the heat for the Muscovy ducks. So it works out well. But of course next year we want to kind of look at some ideas about opening up the area over there. So that they can actually go out and have a closed-in area out further. I'm going to try to clean this off. And of course, well, that's not bad. All right, so you can tell how much warmer it is in here. And then, of course, the rabbits. So we also want to do something with the rabbits. They do have this indoor area here, and they have an opening that goes out, so they can go out into that area. But we'd like to change this around a little bit, especially since we have so many rabbits and we've got the males inside. So if we can somehow do it and separate them so that maybe, you know, we build another building onto the end of that one and have, I don't know. It's something that's in the works, in the planning stages. But these guys in here, they get water given to them every morning and every evening. And then, of course, they can go outside and eat snow, just like the wild rabbits. Now, they do get fresh vegetables every week. They also have their choice of, I think up on this one is the rabbit pellets, your standard alfalfa pellets. And then in here they've got some grains. And then, of course, they've got the hay. There's extra storage of hay up there. And there's one in there chowing down in the little hay area. Hey, you want to come out? You want to come see me? So that's something else that I had discussed is these rabbits, we want to make sure that they are friendly and not scared of humans. So children aren't allowed in this area because children are, well, a lot of hands, or most of them are. We want to make sure that they're respected and they're comfortable around humans. What we'll do is we'll take them out when we have visitors and then allow them to pet them. But we want to look at possibly having something else, maybe a smaller cage that we can put them out in during the day so that people can pet them. Okay, so here's the outside run here. So they've got their little kind of, they don't really use them though, the little shelters, the little houses, and they've got this over here. But they come out here and they'll eat some snow out here, but they also have the water that's inside. Yeah, so there you go, your indoor-outdoor area. I don't think I missed anything about winter feeding or about winter temperatures and how we handle things. In the summertime, we do have a automatic watering system, which is great because we don't have to worry about water at all. All we have to do is clean them out, and they make things really simple. So that's it. We've got Willow out here having some dinner or some late lunch, and that's it, right, guys? So there it is. So again, if you have any questions about this video, please leave them down below in the comments. Hopefully things will warm up. I did notice on a post somebody made, it was a live count for spring. 60 days until spring comes. But unfortunately 60 days, that puts us, January, February? Well, that puts us into mid-March. Usually we get a snow blizzard mid to the end of March. So in our northern region, spring doesn't quite come as soon as it does down towards the equator. But until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video again. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so, please go and subscribe. We have videos that come out every week. Sometimes I'll throw in a bonus one. But there's just not a lot going on right now. So hopefully Bronwyn, something happens there. So anyway, take care. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next video. Bye-bye.